Good morning, everyone, and as always, I hope you're on the search for that inner light because it's in there, shining bright. I kind of want to talk about the post that I left today. First impressions are often the fakest impressions. And what I mean by that is many times when we meet people, they will be who they think we want them to be. But over time, as things become comfortable, they begin to lower their guard down, so to speak, and begin showing their true selves. Now, this isn't for everyone, um, but it's more along the lines of being aware of things beyond the first impression that somebody gives you. Many times we want to say that the first impression is the most important. But is it truly? How about the first impression and all of the impressions that follow it? We have to be aware of that. And, because not everybody has true intentions and authentic intentions. And that doesn't mean that nobody does. There's just as much people out there with great intentions as there are with bad intentions. And we have to be careful not to get caught up in that trap, because once we get on this path of self-discovery, we start discovering self-love and then wanting to radiate that outside of ourselves. And we want to share that with people. And a lot of times we draw people to, into our lives that match our vibration or frequency. And then many times we draw people into our lives that may not match our frequency, but portray that they do. So that is something that's very important, I feel, on this path of self-discovery. And as we further our path and become more aware of things around us, we begin to see more and more into things. And so the whole post is really about, not allowing a first impression to define a person in your life. Many times first impressions are only to get things. Salesmen do that too. Narcissists are really great at doing that, becoming exactly who you want them to be, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's somebody else, and you're like, holy shit, it surprises you because that first impression never showed that to you, but yet that first impression is what you held on to the whole time. So my message is, don't allow that first impression to define that person's place in your life. Pay attention to the actions that follow and all the impressions that follow. Sometimes people come onto our path to teach us a lesson. Sometimes people come onto our path for us to help them. And sometimes people come onto our path and they're here to stay. But we have to be very careful with that, not to allow that first impression to blind us to all the other impressions that follow it. So that is kind of what I meant by that post. So, think of times in your lives where you have received that first impression, like, oh my gosh, it's such a great person. And, then you find out, like, holy shit, that person wasn't who they said they were. So that's why I say don't bank everything on first impressions, because if you do, you could be setting yourself up for a big letdown or a big lesson, right? Everything is a lesson, and everything is a blessing in disguise, is what I always say. So a lesson is a blessing in disguise. Take that for what it's worth, and thank you guys for watching. Much love and light to you. And turn that switch on for that inner light.